They survived 4 major ice ages and 1 minor one. They survived the dinosaurs. They have existed for at least 110 million years. Ants. Except for the Earth's poles and underwater, they have conquered every habitat. 14,000 different species have been scientifically described, and up to 30,000 species are believed to exist.
We are in the middle of Switzerland. Ants are everywhere in our habitat. Some ant colonies consist of only 10 members, while others have up to 20 million. The small colonies can live in snail shells, while others live in hollow branches, plant stems, or huge ground nests. In some species, the queen survives for only 1 year, while in others, she can live up to 25 years.
Their extreme adaptability and diversity have allowed their species to survive for millions of years. Until now, they lived in complete darkness and in narrow tubes. Now they are emerging from the darkness into the bright sunlight. For many male yellow garden ants, this is the day they die. Only a few live to be 2 or 3 days old.
Hundreds of drones and queens emerge from the well-camouflaged ground nest in less than an hour. Only a few of the queens will survive for more than a year. If the weather conditions are good and the queen is in good health, she can lay more than 100 eggs per day. The ant colony can grow to several thousand members within 2 months. The queen and her workers need more and more food. To satisfy their hunger, they became
livestock farmers. They breed root aphids, supervise them, and care for them. Root aphids suck on plant roots and excrete a sweet liquid as a waste product. This serves as food for ants.
If the ant colony has to move due to poor conditions, they carry the root aphids to the new location, like good livestock herders, and place them on the plant roots. Ants and root aphids hibernate together. Drones and queens are often too heavy to lift themselves off the ground. They climb onto a blade of grass to make it easier to take off.
The stopover on my arm was not planned. The queen got caught in the hair on my arm, and we had to free her from this jungle. Of course, she also wants to take part in the big wedding flight.
In other nests, too, the ants ready to mate have been eagerly awaiting this day and these moments. Once a nest decides that now is the right time, the first drones and queens take off. Then the drones and queens in the neighboring nests are alerted by their workers, and they too take to the air.
The different colonies mix, and some of them mate while still in flight. This reduces the risk of inbreeding. Since mating takes place at the same time for all colonies, the new colonies are also founded at the same time. Due to the local climate, the freshly laid eggs develop everywhere at the same time, and the cycle begins again.
Watching their flight show how they synchronize their flight movements is like poetry in the sky.
It is a particularly harsh fate for the males. They spend their entire lives in the darkness of their ground nests, only seeing sunlight for a few hours and expending all their energy on mating in the air. Immediately afterwards, they die of exhaustion.
Many queens never get to ascend their throne. Those that are unable to mate in the air survive until the next day. From a human perspective, their fate is perhaps even harder than that of the males. They spend their entire lives as breeding machines in darkness.
The drones and queens that were unable to mate the day before face entirely new dangers in the morning. This drone spent the night on a blade of grass and now faces a very special challenge. A dewdrop has formed under its body. The surface tension of the water is so strong that it cannot bite through it.
He has detected the scent of a queen and is now desperately trying to free himself. It knows that when a queen is nearby, it must mate with her. Waiting for the dewdrop to evaporate is not an option. The queen is ready to mate and won't wait for him. She's getting ready to take off. Her instinct tells her she must search for the mating swarm in the sky. But the flight the day before took too much energy. She is too weak to take to the sky again.
The male is still fighting fiercely against the dewdrop. Not much left. Now only his foot is stuck. He did it!
The queen can't understand it. Yesterday, flying worked, and today it just won't work. Finally, she decides to go in search of a drone on foot. But the next danger lurks. There are fine, shiny silver threads everywhere.
It happened as it had to happen.
The queen has become entangled in a spider web. Four-spotted orb weaver lurks in its woven cave, waiting for its fat prey. She's in no hurry. She's sure her sticky threads will hold.
In an accessible spot, she injects her poison into the queen. The queen does not know that she is going to die and continues to release pheromones. The male has followed the scent and is now also stuck to the sticky threads. Both are killed and sucked dry by the spider.
Despite all the dangers of mating, some have survived thanks to their large numbers and founded their own ant colony.
Nature ensures that their species does not become excessive. The green woodpecker is a response to the rapid reproduction of ants. He likes to eat ants. He specializes in hunting ants. He watches an ant trail, finds out where their nest is, and pecks at the ground with his sturdy beak. As soon as he hits the underground tunnels, his highly specialized tongue shoots out and fishes the ants, their larvae, and eggs out of the nest.
His tongue is a real high-tech tool. It can grow up to 10 centimeters long. To dart through the intricate tunnels, it can bend in all directions.
And it is sticky and has small barbs all over its surface.
To survive, the green woodpecker needs lots and lots of ants. So instead of clearing out the entire nest, it memorizes their exact location. Once it has found a few nests, it maps out a flight route and flies back regularly to plunder them. He carried out his raid in our garden once a week.
It's a real nightmare for the ants.
Of course, the ants try to defend themselves, but they are unsuccessful. These ants build their nest in an old tree stump. With their sharp mouth parts, they pinch off fine splinters of wood and carry them outside. Inside, they create passages and small cavities for their queen, eggs, and larvae.
Other species of ants build their nests under the bark of trees, but even here, they are not safe from hungry woodpeckers.
The woodpecker is looking for beetle larvae here, but if he finds ant eggs, why not? This iris weevil is very unlucky. This is his favorite plant, his home, and he specializes in it. He slurps its nectar and lays his eggs in the seeds of the irises. There, the eggs develop into larvae and eventually into 4 to 5 millimeter long weevils. He absolutely needs this plant to preserve his species.
The ants have other plans. There is delicious juice in the hole in the plant. They want to slurp it up to feed their own larvae. In other words, the weevil has to go.
The beetle's shell is too hard for the ants' pincers. They cannot break it open. They tug and pinch at it until it finally gives up and has to leave its home.
This weevil was unlucky. The ants tore it in half and are now transporting its remains to their nest.
But the weevil has already been eaten. The ants are carrying an empty, indigestible shell. Pretty stupid of them.
Ants are neither stupid nor intelligent. They simply act as their genes dictate. Their genetic code tells them to bring anything that smells like food back to the nest. That's exactly what they do.
A flat mound formed in the shade of the conifers, and by the following year, it was already over 1 meter high. Forest ants have successfully founded a new colony.
It seems as if the individual ants are all running around aimlessly. To the human eye, the swarm is pure chaos.
But every ant knows its job. Some have to provide ventilation in the large nest, others expand their home, some care for and clean the queen, and others provide food for everyone.
They communicate with each other through scents, but also through different touches with their antennae. The antennae can measure temperature, so they know where in their home needs to be warmed or cooled. They measure and regulate humidity to prevent unwanted germs from growing and making them sick. They measure CO2 levels so that they can ventilate in time and ensure there is enough oxygen in the soil. Their nest is not only above ground, but also underground.
Their genetic blueprint contains countless behavioral patterns that they can call up and execute depending on the situation.
Not only has their home grown significantly over the past year, but their numbers have also exploded. The food requirements for the entire colony are enormous. This mound alone is home to several 100,000, up to 1 million ants. Their food requirements can grow to up to 1 kilo of insects per day. Depending on how heavy and protein-rich their prey is, and on the season, whether they are currently caring for their brood, this can mean up to 100,000 insects caught.
These two are telling each other where to find more prey.
Some of the caterpillars they drag into their nest are eaten, while others live there in symbiosis, or even as parasites. For example, 75% of all blue butterflies, their caterpillars, live together with ants in one form or another. The caterpillars camouflage themselves with the same scent as the ant larvae, so they are cared for and fed by the ants, or even eat the ants' eggs and larvae.
Some of caterpillars not only emit the same scent, but also have sweet-tasting excrement, which the ants use as food for their larvae.
Beetles, such as this ant bag beetle, use a different technique. This one waits until the morning dew has evaporated and it is warmed up.
The beetle is about 9 millimeters long and likes to live on forest edges, dry slopes, and in river floodplains. It is not picky. Here it is doing its daily business. It has squeezed out an egg and is now covering it with feces. In the end, it should look like a plant seed. He throws it on the ground. And if an ant finds it, it drags it back to its nest.
The ant thinks it's a plant seed and therefore food for its larvae.
Wrong! The egg in the faecal shell develops into a larva, which feeds on the ants' food supplies or even eats their brood. And, oops, another egg.
Off with it into the ant nest.
And one more.
This is what the nest looked like in spring. And this is what it looked like in summer.
The hungry crew needs food.
In addition to gathering plant seeds and hunting insects, their cows, the aphids, are milked. The aphids suck the plant sap and excrete a sweet, nutritious juice as waste. The ants tap the aphids' rear ends with their antennae, which is the signal for them to begin excreting.
The ants transport the juice in their stomachs to their nest and feed it to the queen, the larvae, and the workers. Just like we milk cows and then give the milk to our children to drink. Ants have a closable valve at the end of their stomachs. This allows them to seal off their stomachs from their own digestive juices. This trick allows their stomachs to function as a carrier bag for the sweet, sticky cold juice. It can also be useful as a storage container during hibernation. It's always good to have breakfast after waking up.
This prickly and rather ugly dwarf is the larva of a ladybug, in other words, its child. It has found a single aphid, which it is eating with relish. The adult ladybug has also discovered an aphid.
The aphid has been eaten and the empty shell is left behind.
A small colony of aphids has been eaten on the back of the leaf. Ladybugs can eat between 50 and 150 aphids per day, and ladybug larvae can eat up to 30 aphids. The numbers vary depending on the species of ladybug.
The ant nest was deliberately built under a blackberry bush. The blackberry bush has a lot to offer. Its thorns keep birds away.
Some bird species occasionally eat a few ants when the opportunity arises.
Blackbirds, for example. Blackbirds sit down on the ant hill, pick up a few ants, and let the ants spray them with their acid. This helps against parasites in their feathers.
Starlings also enjoy protein-rich food from time to time. They treat themselves to the odd worm or ant. The blackberry bush has even more to offer. Its sweet fruits are popular with many insects. One insect or another can be caught and fed to the ant brood.
With its strong mouth parts, the wasp can cut open the hard skin of the blackberry and bring the sweet flesh to its fellow wasps. Many flies have only one proboscis and like to watch when a wasp is busy with a blackberry. Once the berry is broken open, they too can get to the sweet juice. If a blackberry falls to the ground, it also becomes a source of food. Beetles and bugs also love ripe blackberries.
If one of them falls to the ground, it can end up like this striped bug. The ant cannot break through the strong shell. It pulls on its wing with all its might. If it manages to damage the wing, the bug will no longer be able to fly away. The wing has to go. Only when the wing is damaged will the ant go for help. It cannot bring the bug back to its nest on its own.
The ant has fetched help, and in the meantime, the bug has escaped on foot.
This is a scout from another ant colony. Her job is to search the area for food and report any findings to the gatherers in her colony.
If she finds something, she will mark the way home by leaving a scent trail. This time, she didn't find a food source, but a foreign ant colony. The foreign colony is easily recognizable by its distinctive nest scent. She still wants to look around a bit. Maybe there are only a few strangers, and it might be worth conquering the territory.
But this time, she is unlucky. The foreign colony is large and strong. A war with them would probably end in defeat.
The intruder is spotted. Several feigned attacks cause the scout to assume a submissive pose, leaning slightly to one side. She does not want a fight she cannot win.
In the meantime, a second scout has arrived. At the bottom right of the picture, she is being dragged out of the foreign territory by her antennae.
The scout is searching for a way out, but the foreign worker ants are everywhere. She is surrounded and must continue to defend herself against feigned attacks. Finally, she found a way out and ran home to her own people.
A common buzzard caught a mouse but lost it in flight. The dead mouse now lies on the ground as a gift for the ants. Ants also help with carcass disposal. This mouse can provide food for the ant colony for a whole day.
Is a welcome source of energy. The workers like to drink it to keep their strength up, or they collect it to share with the other workers in the nest. The workers who care for the queen or her children, i.e. the larvae, never see the light of day. They also need food and energy.
The cooperation within the entire colony never ceases to amaze.
This beetle had made itself comfortable on a flower. He occasionally sucked the nectar with relish and relaxed and basked in the sun on the flower.
As the saying goes, no one can live in peace if the evil neighbor doesn't like it.
Unfortunately, the ants needed some quick energy. The beetle has to go.
Ants aren't evil. They and their entire clan just have a high food requirement. When food is found, it is captured and defended.
The beetle's shell is too thick. They can't bite through it. The ants pinch its legs and antennae until it finally gets too annoying. The beetle flies to another flower that is free of ants.
A dead dung beetle lay on the forest path. It didn't take long for a scout ant to find it and tell the good news to its fellow ants back home. They came running in droves. They immediately began to gut the beetle on the spot. But this is not easy with a well-armored beetle. There is only one way for them to do this. They have to pull out the soft parts and entrails from the rear, near the anus. This is the only way they can get to the edible parts of the beetle.
That sounds very macabre.
That's exactly what we humans do too. We cut open our farm animals, calves, cattle, pigs, and chickens, and cut them up into their constituent parts. Here too the ants work as a team. If they all just pulled on the intestines at the back, they would drag the beetle around. In order to pull out the intestines, a few always have to hold them at the front.
Some have to forego the quick snack for the benefit of all. This is only possible because they know that those who are eating will definitely share their meal with them. Ants always feed each other. They help each other.
This way, there's no food envy among them. Everyone's hunger is satisfied. It is always amazing that even basic needs such as hunger, thirst, external enemies, environmental pollution, and so on, bring them closer together again and again. In humans, envy, resentment, and selfishness often stand in the way of this.
Perhaps this is precisely why ants are so successful. The common frog prefers to watch everything from a safe distance. Of course, it eats a few ants now and then, but this is simply too much for it. What if all the ants were to pounce on him?
Wall lizards will eat a few if there's nothing better to eat, but if it's not necessary, they're happy to overlook it. They usually love flies, beetles, grasshoppers, and even spiders.
Do ants generally not attack other insects that are mating? Or was it just a coincidence? We were unable to conclusively answer this question. This question has not yet been scientifically researched. On our discovery tour so far, all insects that were mating were spared by the ants. This earthworm was unlucky. Earthworms normally live buried in the soil and are well protected from ants. This one was simply unlucky. This injured beetle was also very unlucky.
2 scouts found it on a path. They examine it, realize that it can no longer fly away, and immediately alert their entire clan.
Those who had no other task followed the scent trail. Together, they try to drag their find to their nest, safe from other insects.
But it's not that easy. On the way, the beetle rolls onto its back. Even small obstacles, such as this withered blade of grass, are like a huge barrier that the ants have to overcome.
They keep looking for a gap in the shell. It would be easier and quicker to disassemble the beetle on the spot. The beetle was finally pulled into the grass and disappeared from view.
Some ant species loosen the soil with their tunnels, distribute plant seeds, and enable a colorful sea of flowers. Other ant species can cause considerable damage in our homes.
Ants survived the dinosaurs, and they will also survive humanity.